I'm Josephine, and I'm a rising sophomore at the Ramaz Upper School. This is my project, the RC robot tank, and this is my second milestone. My second milestone is that I connected my PS2 controller to my Arduino so that eventually I'll be able to use the buttons on the PS2 controller to move my RC robot tank. So the first step in this process was the wiring between the receiver for the wireless PS2 controller and the Arduino itself. Each of these wires had to be plugged into the right place on both the receiver and the Arduino so that the different functions of all the wires work in the circuit. So once I plugged that in, the PS2 controller should have worked and been able to interact with the Arduino, but it still wasn't working. So to figure out what was wrong was difficult because there were so many different components involved. There was the PS2 controller itself, there was the Arduino and the wiring here, and then there was also code that I had. So it was hard to figure out where the problem was, whether it was with the receiver or the wiring or the code. So first I found a problem where one of the wires on the receiver wasn't connected all the way, and that was keeping it from working because the wire was only plugged in. It was plugged into the Arduino board, but it wasn't all the way connected to the receiver. So after I fixed the wiring on this, the PS2 controller still wasn't connecting for some reason. So I realized that there was an issue with the PS2 controller itself because it's not very good quality. So I unscrewed the back panel and looked inside and realized that the joints were not soldered very well. So I had to fix that and resolder them so that everything was connected the right way. And there was also a motor that had come, a wire that had come unattached, so I had to resolder that back on. So finally, once I fixed that, then the controller did connect to the Arduino. So at that point, I wrote some code using the Arduino library PS2X, which connects with the PS2 controller. So I used that code and was able to get the buttons on the PS2 controller to interact with the Arduino. So if I open the serial monitor on my computer in the code here, it says that the setup was finished. So if I push this red button here, it says red pressed. And if I push the blue button, it says blue pressed. And the green button, and the pink button, and the start button. So I was able to do that for all my buttons. And so the controller now sends the signal to the Arduino, so it shows up in the serial monitor here. So my next step will be to use the buttons here. Instead of having them send a signal to say which button was pressed, they'll send a signal to the motor and have the motor start and go in different directions based on which button is pressed.